Finally, breaking news on a contract front when it comes to your tackles in Seattle. It's Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and Abe Lucas just reached a 3-year contract extension with the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to break down every single aspect of that deal and what Lucas is going to mean to your Seattle Seahawks. But this is why you need to subscribe to the channel. You do not want to miss breaking news when it comes to your favorite team, 12s. You want to make sure that you get the information as fast as possible. I had to short out the minute I saw the tweet drop. You don't want to miss. Subscribe to the channel so you see all the latest Seattle Seahawks news. Now, this tweet dropped about 30 minutes before we started filming this video. This is from the NFL Network's Mike Garofalo. He's saying that the Seahawks and their offensive tackle, Abe Lucas, reached a 3-year, $46 million contract extension. The 2022 third rounder was going to be a free agent in the offseason. This, in my opinion, is an absolute steal of a deal when it comes to Abraham Lucas. Now, I understand that last year, you can see it, 7 games played, 4 sacks allowed. You might be looking at yourself and saying, Will, that's an insane take. But you can't look at what Lucas did last year in a vacuum. The former Cougar Washington State grad has been absolutely nails for you when he stayed healthy. That's why when it comes to my opinion, I view this deal, if Lucas can stay healthy, as maybe one of the all-time best offensive line signings when it comes to Seahawks history. Because what you are getting out of Lucas is a upper to top tier right tackle in the NFL today, and you're going to get him for a deal that is basically what an average offensive tackle makes. Look at your offensive line right now. This is your starting lineup going into week 1. Abraham Lucas gets a full offseason to be 100% healthy. He gets a full offseason to build strength in his knee. He gets a full off season to learn the Clint Kubiak system. And when he's played in the preseason, he's looked absolutely fantastic. Now, there's a thing that's popping up a lot of times when it comes to sports and contracts. This isn't something that just happens in the NFL. It happens in the NBA, happens in the MLB as well. There are opportunities for teams to sign players when they can get the best deal for them possible. Or you can do what Jerry Jones did with Micah Parsons, drag your feet, drag your feet, drag your feet. Now you got to overpay for a player because they've outperformed what they were worth a year ago. That's just how basic inflation works. At least that's what my math teacher, shout out Miss Kretz, told me. When I look at Abe Lucas, this is the perfect time to sign him. Yes, he was going to be a free agent next season, but you've got Lucas coming off of back-to-back years where he had some knee issues. He had some knee injuries, right? When he's played and played at his peak, he's one of the best tackles in the game. But you can look at him and say, well, hey, we're worried about your injury issues. Why don't we work out a deal where it's a little bit more team-friendly in case you get hurt? There's already rumors floating around right now on X that this deal is highly incentive-based. So not only are you giving Lucas the opportunity to reach new heights, something to strive for, more money, everyone's going to work hard for more money, you're giving the team a better deal. Because right now, the former Cougar is going to come in as the 12th highest paid right tackle in the NFL. That's according to Spot Track. He's going to be right ahead of Jack Conklin, a very capable right tackle out in Cleveland, and he's going to be right behind Titus Howard, a guy who's similar age, 27, we're going to call that mid-20s, who has had a healthier resume, has stayed, on the field. That is huge for Lucas because you're getting a player with unlimited upside if he can stay healthy. Because when he stayed healthy, and we'll get into it here in a little bit, he has played as one of the top tackles in the sport. But before we get into that, I have to tell you about the sponsor of today's show, and that is the HOF app. Our listeners get a 7-day free trial and 50% off their first month. Just download the HOF app and use code CHAT at checkout. Now, you know me, 12s. I love to gamble on sports, responsibly, of course, but I'm not always the best at math. When I'm gambling, I'm always looking for just the slightest edge, and the HOF app gives me that edge. Sometimes I need help when I'm crafting up my bets in the lab, especially the parlays. I use the HOF app to find the historical data and trends that I'm searching for to give myself the best chance to hit on my bets and parlays. We all have that one friend, let's call him Steve, who constantly complains about losing a 4-leg parlay on the last leg. The HOF app can help Steve and you out. The HOF app crunches millions of data points in seconds to help guide you on whatever bet you want to place. The app is super easy to use. Now, I don't have to rely on just my gut when I'm making my bets. I can use math and analytics created by Ivy League sports geeks to bet smarter, not harder. For a limited time only, our listeners not only get a 7-day free trial, but they also get 50% off their first month when they use code CHAT at checkout. Just download the HOF app on iOS or Android, enter code CHAT, and you're all set. You're not going to want to miss out. Now, last year's running game suffered for a multitude of reasons, but one of the big reasons was the absence of Lucas. We already talked about it when we pulled up his last year player bio, right? Hey, Lucas only played in 7 games last year. Well, that's because he missed the majority of the beginning of the year, still dealing with that meniscus injury in his knee. When he finally came back, it took him a little bit to knock some of the rust off, but once he got going, man, was he clicking on all cylinders. You can look at the stats right now. I've got Kenneth Walker and I've got Zach Charbonnet's stats up. Remember, for most of Kenneth Walker's season, he did not get Abraham Lucas. Zach Charbonnet, the very end, once Charbonnet became a starter, he got to use Abraham Lucas in that run game at the right side. Now, those rushing numbers are not good enough, especially if Seattle does what I want them to do and have a 1A, 1B type of situation with the running back. You have to have more than 500 yards from your top 2 backs. But you will notice the rushing average at 4.2 for Charbonnet. Charbonnet, for the most part, was running behind that right side, spearheaded by Lucas when he became that starter. Lucas has done a great job and has brought stability to the run game. He's able to get reaches when you're trying to run those outside zones. It allows the running backs to get out and around him. Now you've got running backs like Charbonnet, like Kenneth Walker, out in space. Who's going to be able to get out there and tackle them one-on-one? Not many people I know. When you have a poor right tackle, if they're not able to get that reach, now the running play is going back inside. That's where all the defenders are. You can't have that, especially in this long zone scheme that you're going to see run by Clint Kubiak, which I think Lucas, in my eyes, has performed at a high level of when he's played in the preseason. He has absolutely been a great fit, an integral fit to this offense. You can look at his PFF grades from last year. Again, it's only a 7-game sample size. Specifically, you can see how he got better as the year went on. He's a great pass blocker, a 65.7 pass blocking grade. Remember, he is brought down by the first 2 or 3 games where he gave up most of his sacks. He had 4 sacks given up on the year. I understand that's almost 1 a game. It isn't fair when you look at him because of him coming back off an injury, him coming back of missing basically 2 full seasons. Run blocking, that's a 62.8. It's only going to get higher. In Grubb's offense, when Ryan Grubb was the OC, they did not set the Seahawks offensive line up for success because they ran the same play. It was inside zone, and defenses knew when it was coming. And you didn't run the ball often, so you didn't give yourself a whole lot of opportunities to excel. That will not happen in Clint Kubiak's offense. I promise you that. Now, the other big key why Abraham Lucas is such a big deal is he's going to give Sam Darnold confidence. What we saw out of Sam Darnold last year, I don't believe is an anomaly. His first couple years when he was in New York, he didn't have a good offensive line. What's the famous quote? Coach, I'm seeing ghosts out there. He constantly, Darnold that is, felt pressure when he was in New York because he didn't have an offensive line that kept him upright. Last year in Minnesota, he was a top 5 statistical quarterback in the NFL when it comes to his yards per game and his completion percentage. And he was doing that because he had an offensive line that kept him upright. He had an offensive line that he didn't have to worry about. Are they going to make good blocks? Are they going to be able to stop the pass rush? 35 freaking touchdowns. That's something that Abe Lucas can bring stability to this group. Again, look at this offensive line unit. Charles Cross, when he's been in and he's been healthy and he's been ready to go, he has been absolutely nails. I think that Gray Zabel and Jalen Sundell are going to add something that we haven't seen to this offense, specifically Gray Zabel, because you finally spent high-end draft capital on an offensive lineman to pass pro for Darnold. That is all going to be led by Abraham Lucas over at right tackle. Having him in this unit and locking him down to a long-term contract that you know you're going to have him and Zabel and Sundell and Bradford for multiple years is huge. Just means that Charles Cross is next. I've already given you my take on why this was a great move by the front office. Shout out to General Manager John Schneider, getting the deal done, and getting a deal done that not only Lucas can be happy with, because if he reaches the heights that he wants to and the heights that I believe he can reach, he's going to make more money, but also a team-friendly deal. So now you're not hamstrung by a right tackle. You still have the available cap to go and sign Charles Cross to his extension, because you're going to need to do that as well. You have one of your 2 tackles locked down. You need to get your second one. If Abraham Lucas can stay healthy, we're going to be talking about this as one of the best contract extensions the Seahawks have ever signed. Clearly, I'm coming out here saying that this is an A signing. You might have a differing opinion, and that's okay. I want you to go into the comments. Let me know. Do you think the Lucas signing is an A? Do you agree with me? And you're like, Will, A plus, 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 plus. That's perfect. You can go in and say that. Maybe you're looking at it and you say, hey, it's a C because Lucas has had knee injuries and knee issues, and that's something that I'm afraid of. Totally okay. Head into the comments. Let me know. I want to hear what you have to say, because I absolutely love this signing by the Seahawks, and I think that Abe Lucas is about to have a career year. Until next time, I'll see you later.